there is a sentence that was never finished. Not because the person who started it ran out of words, not because the feeling behind it was insufficient or the intention behind it was unclear. Because the moment that was supposed to hold it closed before the sentence could be completed, before the breath that preceded it could become the sound that followed it, before the thing that was right there, fully formed, fully meant, fully ready to be released into the space between two people, arrived. And now it exists in a particular kind of suspension, not gone, not forgotten, not dissolved into the past the way things dissolve when they are genuinely finished, suspended, held in the specific and slightly aching state of something that was real and meant and never delivered, like a letter that was written and sealed and addressed and that sits not lost, not discarded, but waiting for a moment that did not come yet. For you, I have been doing these readings for a long time. And I want to say something honestly before this one begins, not as a device, not as a way of creating atmosphere, but because it is actually true. The energy in this reading is different from almost anything I have encountered. Not louder, not more dramatic, quieter, actually, more concentrated. The specific quality of something that has been held very carefully for a very long time by someone who understood on some level that what they were holding was fragile in the way that important unsaid things are fragile. That it required a particular kind of care to keep intact, that it could not be delivered carelessly or into the wrong moment or with less than the full attention it deserved. They have been keeping something for you, and the keeping of it has not been easy, but they have kept it intact. The first image arrives, and it is the most intimate image I have seen in this entire series of readings. I see a breath being held, not literally, not in the physical sense that would have long since become unsustainable, in the emotional sense, the specific suspension of someone who is in the moment just before something important, who has gathered themselves, who has crossed the internal distance between silence and speech and is standing at the exact edge of the word, who is in the last instant of holding what they are about to release, still holding it, still inside the held breath, still in the moment before. And then something happened. The moment shifted, in whatever way moments shift when they are not protected by anything. A phone rang, someone entered the space. A look passed between them, and the look said, "This is not the right moment," in a language that did not require words. Or one of them lost their nerve in the specific, human, entirely understandable way that people lose their nerve when the thing they are about to say has been too important for too long, and the weight of its importance makes the saying of it feel too large for any available moment to hold. Whatever the specific form, the held breath was not released. The sentence was not finished, and the thing that was ready to be said went back inside, where it has been living since. I want to speak about what this unsaid thing actually is, because I am not going to be vague about it. This reading is too specific in its energy for vagueness to honor it properly. What was never said is not a small thing. It is not a clarification or a piece of practical information or a feeling that existed at a surface level and that the circumstances simply did not create adequate space for. What was never said is the kind of thing that, had it been said, would have changed something, not a small something, the shape of a dynamic, the understanding between two people, the direction of something that was still in the process of becoming when the moment closed. It is the thing that explains something you have wondered about. There is a question you have carried, probably without naming it as a question, about something that was between you and this person. A gap, a thing that did not quite resolve, a quality to the ending or the pausing or the shifting of whatever existed between you that never felt entirely complete, like a book that finished mid-sentence, like a song that ended on a note that pointed toward a resolution that never came. That quality of incompleteness that you felt, it was not your imagination. It was the unsaid thing making its presence known from the inside of the silence. Let me describe what this person has been doing with what they never said, because it did not simply sit passively in them. Unsaid things of this size and quality do not sit passively. They press, they find ways of expressing themselves around the edges of silence. They shape behavior in ways the person carrying them may not fully recognize as being shaped by the specific thing they did not say. They have been different since. Not dramatically, not in ways that necessarily registered to anyone paying ordinary attention, but in the specific ways that someone is different when they are carrying something unfinished. Something in their quality of presence in situations that remind them. Something in the particular way they respond to your name when it surfaces in conversation. Something in the angle of their attention when your life becomes visible to them through any available window. They have kept track of you, not obsessively, not with the desperate surveillance energy of a reading I did earlier in this series. In the quieter way of someone who is maintaining an awareness of you because what they did not say is still, in their understanding of it, yours, because the unsaid thing belongs to you even though you have not received it, because they feel on some level a responsibility to the words that were meant for you. And carrying that responsibility has kept you present in them, in the exact center of the thing they still need to do. Tell me something in the comments. Is there something between you and a specific person that never felt finished? Not a dramatic falling out, something quieter, an ending or a change or a shift that happened without the conversation that should have accompanied it, without the words that would have made the transition make sense, without the specific thing being named that would have allowed both of you to move forward with a complete understanding of what the thing between you actually was. Tell me if you feel the half-finished sentence. Tell me if there is something in a specific direction that you have wondered about that you return to, not constantly, but in the quiet moments when incomplete things surface, that never quite resolved in the way that fully completed things resolve. I think you know what I am pointing toward, and I think you knew before this reading named it. I see a second image now, and it arrives with a quality of physical weight. I see something being carried in both hands, carefully, with the specific posture of someone who is transporting something they cannot afford to drop. Not because the object is fragile in the usual sense, because it is significant. Because it was made for a specific recipient, And the making of it for that specific recipient has given it a quality that only exists in relation to the person it was made for. This is what the unsaid thing feels like in the person carrying it. Like something that was made for you, not constructed as a strategy, not assembled from parts designed to produce a specific effect, grown from something real, from the actual texture of what they feel and what they know and what they have understood over the time of carrying it, about what it means and what it would mean if it were finally delivered. And the carrying has gone on long enough. I feel that clearly in this energy. The carrying has gone on longer than it was supposed to, longer than the person doing the carrying intended when they first understood that the moment had closed before the sentence could finish. They imagined initially that another moment would come quickly, that the gap would be brief, that what was suspended would not stay suspended for long. It has stayed suspended longer than they planned, and the weight of the carrying has become something they are ready to set down in your hands where it was always supposed to be. I want to speak now about what is building toward the delivery, because there is movement in this energy. Not the fast, urgent movement of the previous reading about contact, something more deliberate, more carefully paced. The movement of someone who has been burned by the closing of moments before and who is not going to approach this one without ensuring, as much as such a thing can be ensured, that the conditions are right. They are assessing, watching the current shape of your life and the current quality of the space between you for signs that the moment they need exists. Not a perfect moment. They have learned enough to not be waiting for perfect, a real one, a moment with enough genuine openness in it to hold what they need to put there. They are looking for the opening. And what I see in this energy is that the opening is closer than they realize. That the current version of your life, the post-chaos, more settled, more self-possessed version that has emerged from everything you have recently moved through, has qualities in it that constitute exactly the kind of opening they have been looking for. Qualities of availability that were not present before. Not availability in the sense of you having nothing going on, in the sense of you being more fully in your own life, more centered, more genuinely present in a way that creates the particular quality of receptivity that a real and important thing requires in order to land properly. You are ready to receive this, even if you do not know yet that there is something to receive. Let me describe what it will feel like when the unsaid thing is finally said. I want to do this carefully because the experience of receiving something that was always meant for you but that took a long time to arrive has a very specific quality that is unlike other experiences of receiving. It will feel like recognition before it feels like information. Before the content of what is said has fully registered, before the analytical layer of your mind has processed what is being delivered, something in you is going to recognize it in the body level way. The way you recognize something true before you have had the chance to verify that it is true. A particular settling, a quality of something slotting into a space that was shaped to hold it. That was, it turns out, shaped by the unsaid thing itself, by its long presence just outside the boundary of being received. And then, after the recognition, something else, a quality of things making sense that did not make sense before. The half-finished quality of something between you and this person, the thing that was never quite complete, the note that pointed toward a resolution that never came, will resolve, not loudly, not dramatically, with the quiet completeness of a sentence finally finished, of a breath finally released, of something that was held carefully for a long time being placed at last in the hands it was always intended for. In your hands. I want to talk about something in this reading that has been sitting quietly beneath everything else and that deserves its own moment. The fact that they kept it in a world where it is very easy to let unsaid things dissolve, to let the moment that closed stay closed, to make peace with the incompleteness and redirect toward things that do not require the specific courage and the specific vulnerability and the specific sustained intention of eventually delivering something that was never said. In a world where giving up on the delivery is the path of least resistance, they did not give up. They kept the sentence. They maintained the unsaid thing in the condition it needs to be in to be delivered. They did not let it become bitterness or resentment or the kind of calcified feeling that cannot be offered because it has spent too long without air. It has remained what it was when it was first formed, genuine, specific, entirely oriented toward you. The keeping of it is its own kind of love, not the most visible kind, not the kind that produces warmth in the moment of receiving because the receiving has not yet happened, but real, the love that maintains something across time without guarantee of delivery, the love that says this is yours even while you are still in the process of getting it to you. You have been loved like this, in the patience of the carrying, in the refusal to let the unsaid thing become something other than what it was, in the ongoing, quiet, mostly invisible commitment to eventually finishing the sentence. The final image in this reading is the one I want to leave you with. I see a rose, but not a rose as a symbol or a metaphor or the generic romantic shorthand that the word rose sometimes collapses into a specific rose. One that was chosen with attention, that was handled with care, that has been kept in conditions designed to preserve it while the moment for its giving was being found, that still carries in its current state everything it carried when it was first selected. Its color, its particular quality, the specific intention behind the choosing of it, and this rose is about to be given, not placed, given with the full awareness of what is being offered and who it is being offered to and what the offering represents that was never said, and that the rose is now accompanying into the moment of finally being said. You are the person this rose was chosen for. You have been the person it was chosen for since the moment of its choosing. And the hands that have been carrying both the rose and the sentence that goes with it are almost in front of you now. Close enough that if you are very still, if you let the noise of everything else go quiet for a moment, if you allow the particular kind of listening that you are capable of when you are fully present and fully open, you can almost hear the beginning of the breath, the one that precedes the sentence, the one that was held for so long, almost ready to finally be released